Hey, this is Jack Downs with a little recording to go over some of the practice and initial InDesign assignment in 318 page design class. Um, whether you're just doing practice on your own, which is very good and you should do, or maybe just moving into the assignment for InDesign Intro, you have a number of things to download from Moodle. I strongly suggest you keep yourself organized. Make a folder for this class on your drive. Within that folder, put a folder and download the template and I'll show you 318 download in InDesign templates and libraries, the template and the library, download those. Also, the other two files, you can leave those aside for now. Also in that folder area is the resource files. You can practice with InDesign practice, but what you're really going to need for what I'm going to use actually for the first real assignment is photo number 1 and then the document down here, Snake Boy. And as usual in all these cases, when you're downloading things, do a right click, save link as, and then find the place it's going to that you want to put it. So you make a folder for the individual project, for instance, InDesign Intro or something like that, and you throw those two documents in there, this image and the Snake Boy. If you make a practice folder, you can throw those things in there to practice with. And you have a separate folder for your template. When you double click on the template in the folder, it will open up as the open design like this. Maybe not looking quite like this. In fact, it probably looks like something like this, Essentials, or maybe Essentials Classic. I don't know. Some combination of those things. The screen looks different and it doesn't say typography up here. And I've told you, I always want you to change it to typography, right? Typography gives you a number of things. I've actually removed a couple from my list so they may not look exactly the same, but make sure you have all these basics. Pages, yes, that should be there. Text wrap, I don't know. I think it may be automatically coming out now. It didn't used to in typography. And by the way, there's a list in the handout that says early InDesign practice of the things you should have there. Pages, stroke, color, swatches, character styles, paragraph styles, text wrap, paragraph, and character. And you can get rid of the story hyperlink effects group if you wish, which we won't use at all. So the one thing I don't have here that you don't have, but we don't need immediately anyway, is the color. However, if I wanted to find any of these things, I would go under Window. Let's say I accidentally close one. And I could choose color here, and then if I wanted that one, I could go grab it and I could go dock it someplace. Maybe I'll dock it up here with the swatches and stuff. I could stick it in there. See how I docked it? I held it where I wanted it until I got a blue mark. One thing you probably don't have open automatically is the library. I have my library open, so you'll have to go File, Open, and go navigate and find the library and open it up. I might as well do that for you right now, right? So I'll go File, Open. I just closed it. I'll just open it again. But when you first open it, it appears in the middle of the screen, which is not very helpful, and you will go and dock it, probably down below everything else. Good. And what else? You just notice that my screen and everything is so, I think, nice and light colored. Well, if you would like yours to look like that, you will find that under Edit, Preferences, Interface. When you go to Interface, you want to select, I think, the light appearance. And I don't think you want to match the pasteboard to the theme color. So that's how I have mine set. And you could do the same thing if you wish. The match pasteboard, you could also get to with a right click on the pasteboard. The pasteboard, of course, is the part of the screen which is not the page. So I do that match. This is what it would look like otherwise. I don't like that. I'm going to unmatch it. So I can do the matching there also. Okay, so I got my panels I need. I got my screen set up, and I'm ready to go. And I think we'll go through some of the steps in the the assignment, and I'll mention some other things about it as we go along too. And then maybe we'll do the screen speed test also. But I have to pause for now. Okay, let's continue. And remember, you should be doing this along with me. ideally on a computer in the classroom or in the Feinberg lab, which are some computers that have a complete Adobe suite. And you would need one of those to get InDesign. And no, you're probably not going to be going to get this program on your own. But it's the industry standard for making pages. Okay, so we got set up here. The next thing we're going to do is look at the page overall. I'll do a Control-0, and then not on the number pad, but actually on the numbers up above the keyboard. Sometimes the other numbers may not work, the keypad, for some of these shortcuts. And I can see that this page is very bland now. Remember, I sort of name my pages or get the start of things I need through the Pages panel. And remember, when you first open this up, it may show you almost nothing. So you have to yank it down to see what you need here. And let's go ahead and add an inside pages to this. I drag the little guy on top of the big guy down here. This is my real page I'm working on. If you went and double clicked on this one, you would be working on the master page. You wouldn't really lose your stuff, but it wouldn't show up when you printed it or when you made the PDF. And that would be a problem. If that happens to you, we'll be able to fix it, but you'll need to talk to me about it. So I made that page. What if I accidentally dropped it beside it? Or what if I intentionally took something like, I'm going to take this speed test page, I drag and drop it down below. Now I have a second page, so you have two pages now. So that's how that works. So let's go ahead and go through the InDesign intro exercise, I guess, sure. Besides all the downloads and stuff like that, this tells me to go to the library. And I suggest spending some time with the library is a good idea. Go and find stuff and play with it and look at it. It tells me to drag this item out over here, and the core reefer, then the 4-column one head, which is here, over here. And it tells me to drag the 3-column 2-head. I think it's 3-column 2-head. There it is, over here. And then it tells me to go drag the box thing, right there, over here. All right, good. I did all that. I can look at those things. It says unlock the folio and put your name in it. Name this page with your name. How do I unlock the folio? I can't even click on the folio. It's because I have to unlock it. Master page items need to be unlocked with a Control-Shift-Click. Once I've selected something, that's the best way to move to it. Then Control+ will let me zoom in on it. Okay, which I have just done, and I will say, I'll put my name in there. Look at my clicking. 2 clicks, clicks the word. 3 clicks, clicks the line. And then 4 clicks would click the entire paragraph and or the entire thing, called quadruple clicks. So whatever. And it says, open up the quote and put your name in it. Okay, good. I will do that. How do I open this box? I see that there's text that is not showing. This red plus mark is an overset box, and that means there's text that is not showing. I can double click on this handle here, or I can just drag it down. I have to drag it down even further to see that there's a lot of text there, well, a little text there. And I can put my name in there. And sometimes you get some weird views like that. But and of course I could put an interesting quotation in there, which I'm not going to do, but feel free to do that. And attribute it to yourself. Sure. Next it's saying to go to the 4-column story block and paste the place the Snake Boy story with a Control-D. Oh, by the way, it's telling me to italicize this. I guess it doesn't say the whole thing or not the whole thing, but I do Control-A. Normally, to italicize something, you do Control-I, right? But I know that in InDesign, bolding and italics are being done with Control-Shift-B or I. But it doesn't. It does kind of work, doesn't it? Yeah, italics is working here. If either of those things don't work, then you have to go up to the actual font menu to change them. So the italics did work, Control-Shift-I. But if I did Control-I, it would not work. Let's select the whole thing. Control-I brings up a spelling. Speaking of which, this is a good place to be reminded that is spelling working? Are you seeing things that are misspelled or intentionally misspell something, is it showing up with a red line underneath it? If it is not, that means your spell check, dynamic spell checking is not turned on, and that was a bad thing. Where are you going to get it? Well, yeah, you could bring up the menu we're just in, but more likely, you're going to go to Edit menu and Spelling and turn on dynamic spelling. I've noticed in the lab, in the classrooms, sometimes this is not turned on. So you should definitely turn this on all the time. All right. So placing text or images. If I select, don't have to put my cursor in it, but if I just select a box, I could put my cursor in it, or just select, do Control D. Control D is the shortcut for placing text or images. It's very effective, and I will go get the Snake Boy doc and put it in here. I'm going to get rid of this 22 inches. That's just information. I'm going to select the whole thing. I'm going to go to paragraph styles and choose body copy. I do. Something seems to have happened. It did change, but I see there's still a plus mark next to it. If there's ever a plus mark, that means I have to hold down the Alt key and click again to make sure it's fully forced into that style. I did a Control A to get all that stuff. You'll notice I don't do a lot of dragging over things that I want to get. I would do clicking to get a paragraph or entire thing, or Control A to make sure I had the entire thing. That says to style the byline, right? I think it says all this stuff. We'll see. Paragraph style, byline 1. Notice I'm not selecting the text. I'm not doing that. I'm just putting my cursor in it. Paragraph styles will affect the entire paragraph. So byline to line 2. That was line 1, line 2. Bylines are typically 2 lines. They're typically styled differently too. And do notice, as I said, that you just put your cursor when you do a paragraph style. Then it says fit the story. Well, in other words, that means arrange it so that we see all the type, right? I can look what I'm doing here without telling you. If I hold down the Shift key, I get a hand tool, and I can use my mouse, click down the mouse, and grab the page and move around. That's one way to move around on a page. Okay, and then I can also use a box like this to move further, to make sure I have it open all the way. And I actually use the box and pushed against the bottom of the screen to move. Look, I'm one line short here. When we are a line short or a line long or a couple, one way or the other, we have to essentially now adjust individual paragraphs. In this case, I want to find a paragraph like this one, which is ready to push forward, ready to break onto a new line. There's a whole lot of our lives in design is just making the right number of lines work out. So here I go. How did I select this? I didn't drag like that. I don't want to do that. It's faster and more effective to triple click to get the entire paragraph. So get used to that clicking action. There you go. And I'm going to now, I want to use either tracking or scaling. Those are under these icons here. So this is, and some of my tooltips sometimes show up, sometimes don't. Oh, by the way, let me mention right now that occasionally when you first open a template, I've noticed, first open a page as a template, and by the way, you see I'm doing all this work and I have not saved it yet. You probably should give it a name and save it, because this is an assignment you're really doing for real, right? Anyway, sometimes when you first open a page, some of the shortcut keys don't work. It depends on how good the computer is and how good the connection is. After a little while, the Control 0, Control plus, Control minus will start to work, and other shortcut keys. And you should look at all the shortcut keys, InDesign shortcut keys, which I have on the handout, InDesign shortcuts, commands, hints, and more, including photo fitting, which we will be doing in just a minute too. And it would also tell you to use horizontal scale or tracking. Tracking is the space between letters. Horizontal scale is just stretching or squeezing together the entire letter and the space too. So if I just do a little bit of plus on that, just one click, I've broken another paragraph. These little partial lines, if those bother you, and someday they will, and you might even be deducted for them, not today, but you would actually use a little bit of tracking or scaling to, I can do a little bit of each, to push that out so it is not just a partial widow. We call that a widow, a partial word on the bottom of a line. Ooh, that doesn't want to go out. There it goes. It finally went out. And we do have limits to the amount of tracking and scaling we do. They are mentioned in the handout you have, how much you can add or subtract. And we do that a certain amount only to make sure it's not visible. It shouldn't be visible when we do it. It tells you to write the heads. I'm going to let you write the heads. So go ahead and just click in there and write a reasonable head. And remember, heads should be within a letter or two of filling the box. By the way, our head style is we only capitalize the first word and proper nouns. And what else? It says place, and go to 3-column block and place the story with a drag and drop. Okay, I will show you that. And to do that, I'm going to do Control-0 to zoom all the way out, select where I'm going, do Control+ to zoom in on that, and here I am. How do I put this text in here with a drag and drop? Well, I could try to drag and drop it and show you what happens. There is the story right there. It's called snakeboy.doc. When I try to drag it, something happens. It makes a new box. It's because there's already text in that box. Control-D wouldn't matter, but if there's already text in that box, I select it. Now I can drag and drop into it. And then the same rules apply. I'm not going to go through that whole process again, and the fitting and so on too. I will let you do that in the writing the heads. And it says draw a squarish 2-column box near the center of the page. All right, well, that would be somewhere over here. Which box do we use? We have something called the rectangle frame tool and then something called the rectangle tool. We use the rectangle tool for photographs. And I'll just draw this 2-column box squarish, like that. How do I going to put the photo in there? I use my regular selection tool, and I'm going to do a Control-D and put in the photo. We're using the snake boy number 1. And I can automatically see that I'm not showing all the image, right? To see all the image, I can either grab the direct selection tool and hold down. I would see there's a lot more image there. Or I could use a regular selection tool. I'm going to click off. And I could click on this content grabber in the center, which has the same effect. Either way, the same effect. There's a lot more image there. So the instructions tell you to use the fitting. We're going to do fitting, fit content proportionally. And this is what that means. Select the image, do a right click, fitting, fit content proportionally will show us the entire image in proportion, which we want to keep it in proportion always, as opposed to fill frame proportionally, which fills the frame as close as it can, but it's all filled and keeps it proportionally. Fit content proportionally would show us the entire image. Then I would either manually move these, close up the box, or just double click on it. Okay. It tells me to, by the way, let me just show you something else. Let's say I wanted to just copy this. Hold down the Alt key and drag. See how my cursor changes when I hold down the Alt key and drag? I don't want to copy that right now. In fact, I can tell you in the instructions to draw another box. I just want you to do it a little bit differently. Same kind of idea. I'm going to draw, oops, no, I don't want to click. I'm going to drag, click and drag. I want to position it right there, roughly. Now I'm going to drag and drop my image in, which is the same image here. It shows up the same way. Now I'm going to do fitting, fill frame proportionally. See the difference? It's filling the frame, even though my image is not really this square, so therefore it's of course cutting the edges off a little bit. How much? Well, if I wanted to see it, I could click on the content grabber and I would make a slight movement and it would show me. It's cutting a moderate amount. In the instructions, I tell you to another way we can fit photos is we can get it close, and we can also, especially if we think we're not quite in the box or something, so you have a little bit of line there. I could also use the direct selection tool, click on it, and so I see that gold outline of the actual image, and I can increase this or decrease if I want this percentage a little bit. I just increased it a little bit, a little more. And then I could move the image down around and decide which part of it I wanted in the box. If I want only parts to crop the image, that'd be a way to crop the image. Then it says go down to the lower right and duplicate the box. Is that what it says? Yeah, box text header box. That's this one here. I'm going to move it over here. I showed you duplicate already. Hold down the Alt key and drag and drop. Good. It tells you to turn one of them green. If I go to swatches, I have fill and stroke, which is the outline. I want fill, and that's what is selected already, and I can find a green here and go like that. It says to group these things. Look how I select. This is a way to get used to selecting. Drag around something you want to select. Especially if you want to select more than one thing. This is how you have to do most, well, no, you don't have to, but it's by far the most efficient way. I just want to select the headline boxes, drag. I want to select all those boxes, drag. I'm going to select these two like that, and then I clicked and drag, click, drag. Control G for group. Now they stuck together. I want to scale, to rotate them. If I hover over the edge of something, I get a rotation tool. I could do that, and it's telling me a number there, and go up to about 30% or something. Alternatively, I could go here and put the number in right here. All right. This is a rotation angle there. Then it says export a PDF. I will tell you that to export, remember we go File, Adobe PDF Presets, High Quality Print. And when we do that, it'll give us the option to name it or rename it to make the PDF name whatever we want, and of course to find the location, make sure you know where you're putting it to. We never try to print, you never submit an InDesign document to me for grading, and you never print an InDesign document. PDFs are what we need for both those things. And after you do this, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to put it in downloads, so I really don't want that. But I want to click save and tell you, oh, there's already one there. Okay, do we want to overwrite it? I'm going to make it, I don't know what that is. Go on, 21. We get this whole big box here, and you don't have to worry about any of it. You can gradually look at it, and some days you may want to have more, choose more options. If you ever want to just view it after, that was not automatically checked. View the PDF after exporting, you would click on that and it would open it up in Acrobat. I'm going to cancel because I don't want to actually make the PDF. Okay, so that is a run through that assignment. In the early InDesign practice handout, there are some other things I suggest you might want to try, but it's quite similar. However, in the speed test, there's some more things. This speed test we did in class once, and we'll do it again, at least once or maybe more times. What you do is you go through these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those things, and you go through them, and we follow the instructions. But for each one, you have to Control-Shift-Click to unlock them. In some cases, you have to unlock it and unlock the number next to it also. So you replace this text. The only weird things I haven't discussed yet are, so you should practice with this. You should go through and look at it. Is the idea of bolding. See, text wrap. That's one thing. This number 2 tells you to choose text wrap, which is the force that pushes text around. I'm putting text wrap on this box to push the number 2 around. Put text wrap. I'm going to use this wrap around bounding box. This being locked is fine, and then I'm going to just start increasing it. And it pushes the 2. See the push go until it actually pushes it out of the box. That's one thing which is a little different. Control-Shift-Click on this guy. Talks about guides, which we have not done in the other exercise. Guides come from the ruler, and we can drag and drop them on the edges of boxes, and they stick there, and they'll allow us to stick other things to them too. I really want to line something up, I can stick a guide there, and then if I made some other box, and I stuck it up to that point, I would know that they were exactly the same. Stick exactly at the same spot. But we don't have to worry about the other box. Unbolding. Some things we would select it, bolding and unbolding, Control-Shift-B, not Control-B, right? But some things, to bold this font, I have to go up here and actually choose Franklin Gothic Demi. So you can look at bolding and unbolding. That's because InDesign is extremely literal about fonts. This is a duplicating this box, which you already did, and move it over there, and clicking, so on. And then number 5 is just export it. So that's a few more things there too. Something So you could probably practice. Okay, I guess that is about it for my little demo. Please, the more time you spend with the program, the better.